Hi, my name is Pat Bennett. I'm a resident of California, and I'm here to tell you my story in the event you might find yourself in the position that I've been in. I've lived here in California most of my life, and all of that time I have rented property. That means you pay rent to somebody for the place that you call your home. In May of 2003, I moved my family and I up to Willits, California. Now, Willits is in Mendocino County, and Willits is about an hour and a half north of Santa Rosa. We moved into a duplex that was owned by a man by the name of Gil Duran. He owns Duran Rentals in Ukiah, California. My family and I lived there for 11 years, and in December of 2012, it flooded for the 8th time since we had lived there. Due to the fact that this was now the 8th time that it flooded there, I sent an email to the city manager of Willits because I wanted to know if that area had been deemed a flood zone. I sent a copy of this email to my landlord. Next thing I know, 2 months later, in February of 2013, I got a notice of proposed rent increase from his then property manager to be effective in April of 2013. Now, let me tell you, California Civil Code 1942.5 states that if there is damage done to the property that is not the tenant's fault or the fault of the tenant's family or anybody that the tenant invites into the home, then the landlord cannot reduce services or increase the rent because it's illegal. It's called landlord retaliation. The second issue I had with my landlord is the fact that I have a disability. The Fair Housing Amendment Act of 1988 states that any person with a disability is allowed to have a pet in their home free of pet fees, because under federal law, that animal is not considered a pet. These animals are called service and or emotional companion animals, and the law recognizes them as a tool to help the person with their disability. I had sent documentation from my doctor, because you do have to have a doctor's note verifying your disability. I sent this letter to my landlord. His then attorney, Mr. Lee S. Adams of Ukiah, sent me a letter quoting the Fair Housing Amendment Act of 1968. Such incompetence. How do you do business with people like this? I don't know. So anyway, I sent him a rebuttal letter quoting the Fair Housing Amendment Act of 1988, which had replaced the previous law. The third issue I had with my landlord is the fact that in my rental contract I had with him, it stated that if there was damage done to the property that was no fault of mine or my family's, and we decided to stay there, that we were to get a reduction in rent. My landlord did not want to give me that reduction, and it was afforded to me in my rental contract as well as California state law. I had to take my landlord to court for all three of these issues. Now, let me tell you, the judge did decide in my favor. I got my reduction in rent. The landlord backed off of me as far as my emotional companion service animal, the Fair Housing Amendment Act. However, after the 6 months from December, I had to pay the rent increase. But the funny thing is, I talked to some of my other neighbors, and their rent increase was only $25. Mine was $75. That's bull. Now, my family and I moved out of this property in July of this year. When we did the walkthrough with the property manager, she said to me, and I quote in front of my daughter, this is what she said: "Everything looks good, and I will try to get you as much of your security deposit back as possible." The California state law says that a landlord has 21 days to report back to you an itemized description of what they use their security deposit for. Of course, my description that I got from them took away my whole security deposit. It just ate it. Plus, on top of that, according to them, I'm in the hole to them for between $1,200 to $1,500 on top of that. This is absurd. One of the things that the property manager said in this itemized documentation is that there were cat feces all throughout the house. That is bull, and I have pictures to prove it, and my pictures are date stamped. But I contacted my attorney. My attorney wrote her a letter saying that she was in violation of the law because she is supposed to be held to what she said at the walkout inspection. Next thing I know, my attorney tells me that he got a rebuttal letter from that property manager stating that they have over 100 pictures of the property damage that my family and I did. So, long story short, I'm going to have to take this man to court again. Oh, I forgot to add that in this letter, the property manager says, I feel I don't owe her any money because she's already taken us to court once. These people are stupid. These are two totally separate issues. Okay? What happened in 2012 and what the reasons I took them to court in 2013, this is totally separate from the move-out inspection and everything looking good according to the property manager. Two totally separate issues. These people are just, they are not there mentally. I hope everything that I have told you thus far will help you if you are a tenant who lives in California. I hope my information helps you. And if you want to contact me, leave me a note here on my video. I will get back to you because I don't know everything there is to know about property law and landlord-tenant law, but I know what I've been through. I know it because I've studied it. Thank you.